Hey, Deb, I am so glad to see you here today on the podcast. Welcome.
Thanks for having me here today. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. So, as we were chatting before we hit record, we were talking a lot about the idea of community. And I think this is such a big thing right now as we are post COVID and we're getting more active. We're starting to do more things. So, we're seeing a lot more community out in the wild. But we also have to think about the way community looks in our businesses. And that isn't always necessarily out in the wild in person. A lot of times it can be online, especially as online entrepreneurs, right?
Yes.
So, what do you do about community? Oh my gosh.
Well, let's say that it's a buzzword because like
Okay.
everybody and their father, brother, sister is trying to build a membership community right now. So
Yes.
it's quite the buzzword.
Mhm.
So if you're feeling that like FOMO, like fear of missing
Mhm.
out, as you're listening to this, you're not alone. But also, the pandemic, I believe, is not at all over. We will be
Correct.
dealing with that for the rest of our lifetime. The
Mhm.
trauma and the experience of our
Mhm.
of our processing of it and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
what really I found magical during that time, during
Mhm.
2020 specifically, when I launched my own online community,
Mhm.
was just that ability to bring people together across the globe with this technology that we have now
Mhm.
and just be experiencing something, but having a shared experience, but a different experience at the same time. And
Mhm.
so we, as a society, all went through that collectively, but we all had individually unique experiences. And with that, we all need different kinds of support. And so previous to maybe pandemic, or maybe if you weren't doing online, things before,
Mhm.
that made everybody now, oh, well, we can't even do anything now in person. So everything's online. And so now that we're kind of back to what you're calling in the wild, which means like, okay, there's this interest for more in-person events now that
Mhm.
that we're back to that. But there's also challenges with local community efforts because the reason I found an online community as a member, which is how I
Mhm.
started my journey, was because I wasn't finding what I needed in my local community.
That right there. Oh my gosh. Our local communities are powerful, but they're local. So,
Mhm.
how is it not meeting your needs?
So I live in central Pennsylvania. It's not diverse here.
Mm,
We don't have a lot of voices. We don't
yes.
have a lot of opportunity for
Mhm.
different people to be heard.
Yes.
And we don't know other people's perspectives. And we kind of, I feel a lot of us felt like, I mean, I felt like I was sitting in kind of like this, cul-de-sac by myself and just kind of
Mhm.
like away from everybody.
Yeah.
And I wasn't relating to other people. I was talking about at the time, and what I'm talking about is now I'm talking about in 2018 when I was really wanting to quit my corporate job.
Okay.
And I was trying to meet people who wanted to build online businesses.
Yep.
And everybody around here they didn't know how to do that. They were like,
Yeah.
I don't know. And I was like, yeah, I want to go on work online so I can travel and go over all over the world. And they're like, why would you do that? And I found this community that was called Location Indie. They taught me that I can do this thing called being location independent, that there's people doing it.
Mhm.
They're doing it all over the world.
Mhm.
Fast forward, I met these people in Denver in person. I shared an actual hostel with these people,
Oh my
built
gosh.
relationships with these people online, met them in person, then flew
Mhm.
to Mexico in 2019, met them again. These people helped build relationships with me online through
Mhm.
2.5 years, helped me quit my corporate job that I wasn't happy. And in 2020, I became location independent and started my online business. So this all happened before everybody else's world changed for
Right.
me. But that was how it really helped me realize the power of online communities, but how they can really connect to in person. So I think
Mhm.
it's really important the combination. I think that they both have super important things. Like there's never going to be, you can't compare an in-person experience to a virtual one. They do different things and they serve different audiences, and they can accomplish things massively in different ways. You can have amazing transformational conversations with people on a global level that you never would have had. I never would have met people in Ireland or worked with people in Mexico or talked to people in Canada 5 years ago. I mean, I worked with a guy that was in Istanbul.
That's amazing.
I don't even know where honestly,
you would have to go to the map and really search for it.
I literally would. But like this person I met with for over a year in a community, you know what I mean? Like these just are not opportunities that wouldn't have been ever presented to me otherwise in my life.
I feel the same way. I co-work with ladies from across the world 3 times a week, and we meet at 6 a.m. my time. And we work for 90 minutes together. And the beauty of having such a diverse group of women is that we get to hear all different perspectives. We get to support one another. We are all in different online industries. We're all building different businesses, but the similarities are still there. And the differences open our eyes. It's just powerful.
It's very powerful. And we come from such a competitive nature with social media and this comparison of, you know, how many followers and how many that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because guess what? Unless those followers are paying you money and that's part of your business model, it doesn't matter.
Let's say that again. It does not matter how many followers you have unless they're paying you because it's part of your business model. It's totally about that connection that you're creating, and you're building a community as an entrepreneur. So one of the things that I often get asked when we're thinking about building communities, you and I have just talked about how important it is and how important it has been in our own lives. And we know that for entrepreneurs, it is critical for growth, not just of your business, but of you as a person, as a business owner, and your actual business. But where does it come? When do you start building community? Is it from day one? Is it something that you get involved in other communities first? Do you build an email list? Where does this fit in to that laundry list of things you have to do as you're starting a business?
Well, you already built it because you already have a network of people. You already have a community of people, right? That you know, I would assume. I mean, unless you are living on a remote island and you don't talk to anyone. Okay. You have a network. You have something to work with. You know, you have an email, you know, you have people's emails on your email box. You have an email with people's emails. You have maybe some people that you could talk with on Facebook or LinkedIn or some of these other platforms now that we have those options available to us. But before those options were available, what did you do? You called people. You made phone calls. Yes, and you knocked on doors and you sent emails, and that's it. So that's the work. And it's building relationships one relationship at a time. It's saying, hey, I think that you might be really great for a program I'm thinking about doing, or I'm a coach, or I'm a leader and I have a thing I'd like to talk to you about. It's talking to people. And I found that so many times people don't want to do that simple thing.
And I think at least the objection I hear is, but this isn't something they would buy. I'm bothering them.
Well, then that's not your ideal customer or client, then, is it?
And I think the other thing to think about is they might know someone, right?
Right. They might know someone, but you really want to figure out then who is the right person that wants to hear your message, and who is the right person who does have the problem. And you know, business is about solving problems. Let's be honest. You have to solve a problem, or people have a problem, and then they come to you because they say, oh my gosh, I need help. You know how to do this thing. I mean, if people are in dire needs, like if your power goes out or your refrigerator dies, you need a generator. And you're not going to worry about the price tag. You just need to go get a generator, or you need a refrigerator because you need food. So that's just Just as what you do.
Mhm.
So if you're solving problems that people really need an answer to, and you're talking with those people
routinely talking to those people, not just once. I think that's
right, relationship building, it's more than
Mhm.
one conversation.
Yeah.
It's not, you don't talk to somebody once and then say, hey, you want to buy this now. You say, I'd like to know about you. What is your strat? And that's what I
Mhm.
call these ideal member chats on some of the things that I'm working on with the new book and stuff like
Mhm.
that. It's really about having an idea, and the idea framework that I use is called idea, and it's identify, discover, evaluate, and what was the last one now? I'm forgetting my own idea. Oh, assembly. Sorry, idea is
Oh.
assembly is the last one. And so really identifying like who is the right person, right? Who is the
Mhm.
right person for this whatever the community course program, name your thing.
Okay.
And then I got to discover, okay, but what's the right solution? So once I know who is it for, now I got to know, okay, but what is it really? What is the real problem, right? And
Mhm.
then we got to see, oh, but is the community a good fit? Is what they need a community? Because what's going to happen here? And am I the person who wants to be a community leader? Because what the question you said earlier was, should I build a community? Well, if you'd like talking with people, then yes. If you like being around people, then yes. If you don't want to spend most of your time communicating with people, no,
No.
because it is not passive income. It is not
Right.
passive. It is very interactive. And
Mhm.
people, when you open up an online community, and then you say, here you go, and then you give them some resources, and then you don't, if you do nothing else,
Right.
nobody will stay
Right.
because they joined to talk to you. So
Mhm.
in this example.
Yeah. Right.
So so if they don't get you, then they're going to go find somebody else that can give them.
Right. So we need that. It comes down to interacting. That's what I'm hearing you say, is that no matter what, when we're thinking community, when we're building business, it all comes down to the interactions that we're willing to commit to and engage in.
Yeah, the first interaction is with understanding them. So it's really all about them. So it starts from a place of, first of all, before all of that, we have to know, what does Deb want? For example, I'm just going to use myself.
Right.
What do I need and what do I want? And how do I
Mhm.
want to live my life and my intentional design and all of that kind of stuff? So I have to know all of that first. Then
Mhm.
when I know those things, okay, now here's the idea that I have. I'm going to go and talk to people about it, and they're going
Mhm.
to give me their thoughts or their challenges, and then I'm going to use the words that they say, and then I'm going to say, oh, this program helps you, or this course or this community helps you solve this problem, because
Mhm.
you're just going to use the problem that they said. Oh, I'm struggling with, I can't fall asleep at night. And your community is all about helping people calm in the evening time with an
Yeah.
evening meditation or something, and a
Mhm.
community that supports you around healthy sleep habits. And you're like, I can't sleep. And then you see this community and they're like,
It's
this
brilliant.
will help. This will help you sleep. Oh my God,
Yes.
that's exactly what I need. Oh my gosh, I need sleep. That's what they want. And
Mhm.
then it's one building the relationship, because you have to, so memberships and community is about selling them multiple times also as a salesperson.
Yeah.
So it's not just a one-time thing. You don't just sell them once and then they're in. If you're doing a reoccurring model versus like a course, which is a one-time thing,
Right.
if you're doing a reoccurring model like a membership, then you have to constantly be reminding them of why this is important to them and why they should keep coming back. And so that means that they have to build relationship with other people than just
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So you can't be the primary reason why they're coming. They have to be. So that is the other burden of a community leader, is that they must at some point connect their members with each other, because that is where the magic happens of the shared wisdom. because then we get into a situation of, instead of it being an empire versus an ecosystem, is what I call it. Empire is where you have like one person at the top, and then, you know, all these people are just trying to get access to that person in different levels. Like me, you can get access to me for $25, and then if you pay this bunch of money more, then you can get access to more access of me. That's an empire system versus an ecosystem where we all have something to learn, and we all have something to teach, and we all have something to share, and we all know that. And so we all come to each call or each time we log into a community with that thought process, where we're just like, we want to show up here and we want to invest in this community because we want to share what we've learned, but we also want to learn from what everybody else has learned here.
So how are you doing that? Because a lot of times I hear, and I've seen it for sure, you go into an online community and the leader of the community will post, and maybe they're fairly regular. They'll post once a day or even 3 times a week. They'll go live once a week or once a month. They're reasonably consistent, but no one else posts. They don't necessarily ask questions or try to get the other people to brainstorm with them. And it's very much crickets. If the leader themselves isn't doing the posting and the asking of the specific questions, nothing else seems to happen. And if we're trying to create this ecosystem, not an empire, we need the other stuff to happen. So how do you go about encouraging that culture?
So I want to ask why we need the posting every day or every 3 days or whatever the frequency that you just talked about. Why is that important?
See, I don't think it is, because I think sometimes it can discourage everyone else from jumping in, and they start to feel like I can only post when our group leader has asked something.
Right.
And so I'll answer, but I'm not ever going to make my own post.
So if you thought that, somebody else might think that. And creating content for content's sake is not only a disservice to the person who created the content, but it's a disservice to everyone else. And I'm about tired of that as a content creator myself.
It's overwhelming and it's too tiring.
And nobody wants to be a content creator just because of clicks. And all we're doing is being free content creators for other people who are making money, and we are not making money. So I don't want to be a part of that system, which is why I'm really excited about leaving that system and being a new world of systems where we take over and we start a new network. We start a new social network where we take back our control. We own our content. We own our membership, and we can choose when we post. Our members get to tell us the frequency. It's up to the members. It's not up to me. I asked the members if they want to. Hey, I was at a podcast convention in Orlando in 2022, and I was speaking, and a lady came up to me after the event. She goes, "Hey, Deb, I listened to your talk, and I wanted to ask you, I have this idea for a daily podcast that I want to pitch to my Facebook group, but I want to charge for it, like a paid podcast. I want to see if you think that's a good idea." And I said, "Well, what did your members say?" And she goes, "Oh, I haven't asked anybody yet." And I said, "Oh, well, you better ask them, because like, you don't want to make a daily podcast. That's a lot of work. And then you don't even know if your members are even want it." And she goes, "Oh, that's a good question, Deb, because honestly, I feel like so many of us create our own work for no reason at all. And it doesn't even get consumed because we didn't ask somebody, and nobody asked us to create content. We just are assuming, and it's all based on assumptions and like what we think is blah, 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 instead of the reality. And so that's why my work is really, really, really rooted, because of my own personal experience in community building and working with over 50 community builders in the last 3 years. Validation. You validate everything. You validate everything before you do something. You don't spend time 7 months building a course without it being validated. You don't build a podcast and launch it out to the world without even knowing. I mean, people are doing this. They're spending thousands of dollars. I saw a post on, I'll let you say one more thing. I saw a post on Twitter that was saying, if you had $50,000 to invest in a startup, what would you do? And I am not even lying to you. 70 to 80% of those people said marketing. And I wanted to smack them in the face and be like, what are you talking about? Business development, talking to your people, finding your client. That's the money. Sales. And if you haven't noticed, who are the people getting laid off right now?
Yeah. Yep. Pretty much.
That's because businesses are realizing, oh, we're kind of in a bad place right now financially. And the only people that we know that are going to guarantee us revenue back are the salespeople. And they're never going to let go of salespeople because salespeople bring in the revenue.
That's how the business stays afloat.
Yes. And I know that people don't like sales. And I also believe that you don't have to like sales. You just have to love what you do. And
okay, so tell me about that.
And then everybody will love to pay you money for what you do.
Because that's the objection. I'm not salesy. I don't want to be salesy. I don't like to sell. I don't like to sell. But you just said something really interesting. If you love what you do and you validated your idea, people need it. They want it. More importantly, they want it because that's what they're going to go search for.
Right.
It's not sales in the icky sense.
No, you're helping people.
Yeah.
You're helping people. I don't know how else to like say it because it's not, I have felt this way. And every time it comes to that part of the conversation, I always, to this day, I'm still like, I get the whole flutter in my chest and I don't want to have the conversation. Everybody has that. Like unless you're like, I was a salesperson. I was a business development in sales and tech for 4.5 years. I hated that. But unless you were a diehard salesperson, you're going to get that feeling. Mm-hmm. I think that's just a natural person who is like still coming into theirs. And I've only been in this particular business for about 4 years. So, it's just, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I've been on calls with people that it's like a light bulb went off when somebody said, oh, just being me. And somebody at the end of the call was like, Deb, you saved me 6 months. I have been stuck on on trying to figure this out by myself for 6 months. Oh. And you have just helped me break through that thing in 30 minutes. That is worth more money than I can even express to you. And that's what I mean. It's like when you, for me, being able to sit here and know that I'm helping somebody, it's just that's why we do it. It's because I love helping people. I would do this for free. Unfortunately, my landlord wants his rent.
Right. And that's the thing. What it comes down to is when you find that thing that you love enough, you would do it for free.
That's it.
Allow for the reciprocity to happen in the relationship as well. I think there's something really powerful about you're offering something of high value and they provide compensation for that. There's nothing ugly or icky about it at all.
It's just reality that we live in a world that we exchange this thing called dollars or whatever you call it in your country, but
right. We exchange money
and we call, even though to me, it means nothing. And I'll tell you right now, money does mean nothing. It really doesn't. What I've really learned is, especially right now, it's really about relationships. If you want money, you go to where you build relationships with the people who have the money and you figure out how to build better relationships with people who have more money. And then you figure out how to make those partnerships happen.
Right.
Because money isn't anything. It's just a piece of paper. It's nothing. It doesn't mean anything. It's more important when the people hand it to you.
Right.
And then you can pay it to somebody else and then it goes away.
Right. We literally hand pieces of paper around to one another.
It's ridiculous. It's
and
ridiculous.
when you think about it that way, it takes some of that mindset away of the icky. you think, wait a minute, I just provided this massive service. They handed me a piece of paper. I'm going to go now buy groceries. I'm going to hand that piece of paper over to get the groceries. And the farmer's going to get, the grocery store is going to pay the farmer. They're going to hand that piece of paper over. The farmer's going to hand the piece of paper over to buy more seeds. It just kind of keeps going around.
Yep.
And when we take away the stigma around asking for payment, when we recognize all of this, I think it just gets a lot lighter.
Yeah. And I think we just, unfortunately, women, and I'm working through a lot of my own personal, there's probably another book in the works about personal stuff, because I'm working through my own personal life challenges. But women just, we get so much shame. I have experienced so much shame in so many different elements, in so many different ways. And we just get so afraid to even be ourselves and to even ask. And it's ridiculous, because a man would be like, what do you mean? Just ask for that.
Right. Here's what I'm charging. Pay it or don't.
They don't even understand the concept of like, what do you mean you feel icky? It's just you just say, this is what it is. And once I heard that conversation reflected back, and I realized that there really is nothing between us except for our physical bodies. But our inside, Deb, that makes me Deb, is nothing to do with my body outside. Right. And so it's me, and I just have to choose to like have that idea and to have that mindset. And so sometimes I get there, and other days I have a tough day. That's
all of us are that way. We all experience, and I think that's also normal. And it just comes with doing it over and over and over. Just like you go to the ideal client call and you get to know them, you do it over and over and over. It gets easier. You learn more. You hear it in a new light. You're able to pick out that piece that maybe they didn't recognize right away as being so important and the linchpin of what could change everything for them. And you can reframe it. You get better at pulling that out. You get better at asking for the exchange of money for your services.
Oh yeah. And the more and more times you do that, it's so much easier. Yeah. When I first started doing this, I was like terrified to ask anybody for anything. I was like, do you want to pay me something?
Would it be okay?
Yeah. Can I get some money from you? And now I'm like, yeah, it's $2,000.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what it is. That's what people pay. Or it's $4,000 or it's $6,000. And I don't have a problem saying those numbers anymore. Those numbers 5 years ago, I would have been like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of money. It is a lot of money, but so is my time. My time is
the value that you're providing, that
the value that
you're allowing them,
the value that I'm bringing them. And if somebody was going to spend, how much is 6 months worth to you?
Yeah.
How much is a year worth to you? If you could make money with your business in 3 months instead of a year and 3 months from now,
that's a huge difference. And it's worth it. Yeah. Oh my gosh, Deb, so many different things that we talked about today. We started off with community, and I think we're still talking about community here at the end, but it's that concept of truly just building relationships, looking for the diversity, the opportunity to connect with lots of different people, learning from them, truly listening to what they're sharing. And that's how you can form your business so that it is more effective, more efficient, more successful sooner than if you just go off and build what you want to build and hope for the best. Building these relationships, getting involved in community really does help speed that process up. And it's not just about the content creation. It's about getting to know people.
If you really want to do community, community is people. It has nothing to do with the platform. People will be like, well, where is the best? It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
There's lots of places you could do it. And yes, I could give you recommendations, and there's lots of stuff on my website, blah, blah, blah. But the truth is, the community is about people. And the key is that you have to find the right people and get the right people in the room to have a conversation that you want to have.
I love it. Oh my gosh. Okay. So before we wrap up, I'm wondering if you have one last piece of wisdom that you could share with our listeners today about anything business related maybe that you wished you had known sooner, that you wish someone else who was light years ahead of you when you got started had shared with you and you didn't have to muddle through to find it. Or it could be just something that you had an aha moment when you were getting a shower this morning.
Ask for help.
Thank you for saying that.
Ask for help. I'll just give you a short little story.
Okay.
I in 2021, I was the first year into this real deep dive of doing community consulting, and I was pretty new to this industry. And there is a significant industry called the community industry, apparently, where there's people actually who have been doing this in the tech world for quite a long time.
Okay.
And so I posted online on LinkedIn. I said, is anybody doing this thing called community consulting? Because I felt like I was an imposter. I felt like, there's all these people doing this, and I just started. And who am I to be writing blogs about blah, 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 when these people have been doing it? And I put out this thing on LinkedIn. I said, is anybody doing that? And a couple of people replied back, yes. And I said, would you like to meet? And they said, yes. And so we started meeting every month. We met every month since 2021. We formed a formal board last fall, and they launched their website, and it's now called the Community Consultants Collective. And it's now being taken over by a colleague of mine who has decided that he wants to have it as, that they want to take it over as a purposeful mission for consultants to offer a space, because consultants are very competitive. And I'm offering a place where it's collaborative, that you can come and just talk about pricing in an open space. And all that happened because I asked a question, and I think we've had so much response for that because of layoffs in the tech industry this year. We've had like over 70 people have interest in this now that we opened it up to the public.
Oh my gosh.
Insane.
One question where you asked for help.
One question, because I asked for help. So just not to say that was a supportive group that helped me when I was struggling. And it wasn't that I was going to do that as a business. It wasn't that I was going to make anything else than that. It was just a group that I needed. And they helped me through a time. And then now that group is helping other people.
And it doesn't even have to be that profound. Even if it's just
it doesn't
one
have to
conversation, be that right? Even if it's just one conversation, you reach out, you ask for help, and you talk to someone one time.
Yeah. I found just the simplest things, because it's just, we try to do so much. We just try to do so much. And sometimes it's just like, I wish, I could just have somebody to do this one thing. So if you feel like that, then just say, all right, who could help me do this one thing? And then whatever the person that pops first in your head, if that's somebody that you feel like you can reach out to, then just reach out to them. And just see it, just talk, just say hi. I think we're so afraid right now. It's just a really big, challenging time. Everybody is busy, but we don't know what kind of busy unless you're in this inner circle kind of situation with people. You don't know what kind of busy that means. And you don't really know if people want to talk. So unless you're in that inner circle. So it can be really hard to ask for help. And going back to the question, I'm sorry, I'm going over your time limit.
No, this is not. It is wonderful.
But going back to your question earlier about the crickets and the questions in the community and things like that, the other thing I'll say is that, social media has taught us to not ask questions, because whenever we ask a question, what happens?
Well, there are a couple of things that happen.
What happens when you ask a question on social media?
So either no one responds or everyone responds, but because there's not a relationship there, it may not apply. And so you get even more lost, or you get people that reply in a hateful way. And sometimes you hit the jackpot and someone helps and it's beautiful and it's wonderful.
Right. So it's a who knows?
Yeah.
And we're not up for that who knows anymore. Yeah. We're not up for that. We want compassion. We want the answer. I don't want this random, if you're in dire, I need something. Yeah. I don't want just a random blah, 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 especially if it's about my business. You know, I want somebody to be really supportive and help me, not to criticize my business, or like when you post your website, hey, I got my website up, and then 17 people comment, or like just be like, cool, and then like 17 people are like, oh, something is spelled wrong on this page, and oh, this banner isn't working, and oh, this you know what I mean? All people do is criticize. But how do they have a business? Is their website up? Oh, wait, no. Oh, okay. Stop telling me how to do my business unless you have your business. And I didn't even ask you for your, unless I asked you for your advice. I just said, look at my website. I didn't ask you to say, criticize my website.
Right now, I'm just asking for a little bit of woohoo.
The problem is we don't position it that way. And then we get what we get. And we have so many mixed people because we don't have a safe space on Facebook or something. For example, Facebook is a good one because we have like everybody, like my Aunt Sue to my mom to my
previous coworkers to everyone, to the mail person, to the
everyone is there. That's why these niche communities are the key to our future, because a niche community solves your direct problem, or you can find the people who you want to spend time with and you want to hang out with, and they're going to be a supportive group of people, and they're going to give you what you need. They're going to either give you the answers that you need, they're going to give you the support that you need, they're going to say, hey, I don't know, but I know so and so might know somebody. That's what happens in a community. But you can't just put out a message and keep asking questions. So a host or a leader needs to talk with the members and incentivize them and encourage them in ways, indirectly and directly. And that's a strategy that I would work with clients on. But I'll just say, those are things that I help clients with all the time, because they think that they have to create constant content. And I will tell you, every client has come to me with this, and I will tell you, people don't come for content. They come for people.
They do. And that's why they stay. They
stay for people. The whole adage is they come for the content and they stay for the community, which I think is true to a point. But I think even now we're exhausted with content. And I even had an interview with somebody on behalf of a client that hired me to do discovery interviews. And she said, I would rather pay if you did not have content here.
I don't even look when I'm joining a community anymore about what content I'm getting. I look at how I'm going to be able to connect with people.
Yes.
That's what I actually pay attention to on those big, long sales pages. I'm not looking at the content.
So if you are listening and you're creating a membership, listen to those things.
We have just scratched the surface today, like not even scratched it. I think maybe a little rubbing on the very top of the surface with community and all that you know and understand. So how can we connect with you and continue to learn from you and with you?
On my website, findcalmhere.com. Yes, Find Calm Here. I help business owners find calm, building a business that they love.
Oh, we all need a little bit more calm in our lives. So this is going to be a wonderful opportunity. And you mentioned a book, and that is coming out sometime this year, right?
Yeah, in the fall. It's called Creator to Community Builder. Transformative book. It's a hybrid book, partly about my experiences, and then also about working with the clients I've worked, and talking about the systems and processes that I feel like are really helpful for these community builders, that they need this for the next, 50 years to build these online communities that we're going to need, because honestly, that is the future of how we will communicate going forward. We're going to learn online. We're going to communicate online.
Yes.
This is where we're going. But I hope to help people do it in a more meaningful and intentional way that has purpose.
Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Deb, for sharing your time, your wisdom, your ideas, and helping us to get a better understanding of community today, and really thinking about the power that community can bring to our personal lives, but also to our businesses as entrepreneurs and to our clients' lives as we serve them. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. So excited to meet you and so
Yes.
great to be a part of this podcast.
Thank you.